The Brevard County Local Coordinating Board for the Transportation Disadvantaged Board to order on November 7th, 2022 at 10:30 a.m. Space Coast Room, Building C, second floor, Vieira Government Center, Judge James Francisco Way. Introduction of members will start in the very back there. If you would start, and please introduce yourself, your name and where you're from. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if there's anybody behind that.
Yeah, there is.
Okay. Thank you. And we'll start at this end over here with Heather.
Heather Balser, County Attorney's Office.
You want to hit your button and make sure your mic is on.
Did you hear me? No.
Is it green?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's green. Mine's green.
Okay. All right. All right. And
Sarah Crom, Space Coast Transportation Planning Organization.
thank you.
Felicia Wilson, representative, alternate.
Thank you.
Jane Stringer, alternate.
Linda Howard, citizen advocate.
Arlene Nolte, is it on?
Yes.
Yes. Arlene Nolte, senior representative, alternate.
Andrea Young, Chair, City of West Melbourne.
Victoria Anderson, Agency for Healthcare Administration.
Dennis Van Orsdal, Brevard County Veterans.
Lucy Taylor, FDOT.
Yvonne Miles, Space Coast Air Transit.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. All right. Since the meeting is to order, the next thing I'll need will be a motion and a second to approve the minutes from August 2nd, 2022. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
All right. Motion from
I
Linda Howard,
second it.
second by. Can I get a second?
Arlene Nolte seconds it.
Second by Arlene Nolte. Thank you very much. All those in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. All right.
Madam Chair, can I
Yes.
do a housekeeping item real quick? I
Yes,
think
please.
there's some confusion on the mics. The green light stays on all the time. You're looking for these three dots on the side. And so you have to click off and on.
Mine's out.
Do you want us to keep them off?
Oh, that's
Oh, okay.
whatever Yvonne's preference is on if she's recording and such.
Am I okay?
No,
There we go. I'm on. I'm on. Okay. We're all good now.
It was green.
That's much better.
I
Thank
have
you.
it right
good?
here.
You're good.
We can move her name tag right here.
Yes,
If
if
that's
I want
easy.
to speak.
Yeah, you're good.
In other words, my voice is going across.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. So we'll move on.
Yeah.
And we'll move on with
The
reports.
direction in it. You have to speak into it.
Okay, got it, thanks.
All right. In Terry's absence, we'll be hearing from Kenneth.
Good morning.
Good morning. Is your mic on?
Our community coordination contract is our report will actually be done by Lance Parker.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How you guys doing? So the reason I'm doing this, Carmen Baez has jury duty this morning, so she's across the street performing her civic duty. So what she has here is they've done an Eastern Florida State College welcome back, where we go. It's the week when school starts back up, and they go and talk to all the kids, students about transportation and stuff. We also had the Mobility Week pop-up events. There was the week of October 24th. We did a lot of pop-up events with FDOT, the Space Coast TPO. It was a huge partnership, and we did that 4 days of that week of Mobility Week. We were out. You can see Felicia and James have the red T-shirts we were handing out to everyone to download the app for the 321 Transit app. So it was a really good event. And then that Friday of October 28th, we did a big senior event right down the street here at the Addison Club, which was a really great event. And they also had car fit people out there helping seniors get fitted for their cars, which I thought was a really cool idea you guys came up with. Sarah, whoever came up with that was really smart. I'd never seen that before, but it helped them, show them how to, wear their seatbelt right, have their seat adjusted right, their mirrors, and everything. So I thought that was really, really cool. Any questions?
No, that sounded like it was a very good event.
It was a very busy week.
All right.
Yeah, very busy week. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Are we back to you, Kenneth?
Oh, the report card too? Sorry.
No, it's Mr. Parker.
The report card, not really much of a change. As far as the cancellations go, just like historically in the past, the majority of the cancellations are from the training centers. The kids that go to the training centers, they usually run the highest amount of our cancellations for trips, especially coming into this time of year with flu season and stuff like that starting up, and the holidays coming up. The cancellations are going to be on the rise because a lot of the parents and guardians take the kids out of the learning centers for travel in the holidays and stuff like that. The dialysis trips, that's our second highest cancellation rate, because we have a lot of clients that, they get transportation from friends and family and stuff like that. They cancel the last minute. So, any questions about that?
Why was, it was good, a big improvement in late, what do you think? The late percentage that are late and the percentage 15 minutes and 30 to 30 minutes. And there was a drastic change from 17% to 1% in August, which was a great improvement.
Right. And I think that has a lot to do with the weather that we've had this year, If we stop back and look, we have this storm coming this week. And look how quiet August was, which is usually a really tough month for us in transit, which is usually when our cancellations are the highest because, at the least we have, thunderstorms every afternoon, which we really didn't have much of. And the ones we did have, they came later, this year. So it was more in the evening time or overnight time. So our cancellations were down a lot in August.
All right. And Mr. Parker, are you still having an issue with drivers, sufficient drivers, enough?
Yes, ma'am. We're still short 24 drivers.
Okay.
So, our issue is really, if you look at the age group of the majority of our drivers, a lot of them are on their second retirement working with us. They're getting up there, and they're starting to begin in their silver and golden years, And, so we'll hire 4 or 5, and then we have 4 or 5 retire. And it's like, it's keeping us right there. We improve maybe 1 or 2 drivers a month, but, depending on the age of a lot of our drivers, that's really been the biggest factor lately. We haven't lost anybody lately to, going to a better paying job or anything like that since we've done a significant raise increase this year. So that has slowed down. But it's just, getting over that bell curve of retirees, is really an issue.
Okay, and I know that also, since you do have this issue, you need to know where you're going in advance. So if someone needs to schedule to go to work every day, or maybe they work 3 days a week, how far in advance do they need to schedule, and what's the cutoff where it's too late?
So I believe that you're talking about for the demand and response trips, ma'am?
Well, if that's the title, then yes.
Yeah, it's up to 7 days in advance.
7 days, okay.
Yes.
So they cannot call and schedule any sooner
Further
than
out
7
than
days,
that.
any further
No,
out?
they do standing trips though. So, for the dialysis patients that have to go 3 times a week, those are usually the standing trips that they allow. We also have folks that go to hyperbaric chambers and other types of therapy that they have to have on that weekly basis. So they usually work with people on that when they know that they're going to have the same appointment, the same time every week. That's especially when it's life-sustaining, those trips take priority.
Okay, and then what's the cutoff? What's the cutoff where they call too late? What is that?
That I'm not really sure of, to be honest
Okay.
with you. I'm the manager of operations, sorry.
Okay, all right.
I make sure the trips get performed. I'm not sure 100% on the scheduling of them.
Okay, thank you very, very much.
Yeah, no problem.
All
Any
right.
other questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Kenneth, are we back to you for volunteers in motion?
Actually, Lori Hamilton's actually going to provide
Okay.
that report for us this morning.
Good morning. Basically, you all have the report in front of you. I'm assuming it was a little late in getting it to Dawn, so
Oh.
I believe it was.
Yeah, I made copies.
Okay, all right. So it's really not anything out of the ordinary. We did a couple. Oh, sorry. We also participated in the Mobility Week, and we were at the Addison, and that was a very successful event for Volunteers in Motion. And we will be going to the Satellite Beach Founders Day event that's coming up on November 12th. So, but other than that, it's been a quiet quarter. Do you have any questions?
Okay. No questions? All right, thank you.
All right,
That
you're
was a good
welcome.
report. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, the Transit Director's report.
I'm back again.
Okay.
We held several events in partnership with the TPO in honor of Mobility Week, and Lance has already spoke about most of those events that transpired, and we're forever grateful for the partnership with
Can
the
you speak into your mic?
And we are forever grateful and thankful for the partnership that we have with the TPO. We have an excellent working relationship with them, so we're eternally grateful for that. Also, during the Mobility Week, the Safest Golden Fair, we had the first unveiling of Talking with Terry for Transit, and that was a very exciting event. People had an opportunity to talk to the director as he gave a presentation inside the building as they rode on the bus. A lot of seniors were given the opportunity to ride the bus during that event, so they were extremely happy about that. And as you may recall, when the Transit Development Plan was presented to y'all a couple months ago, it talked about us doing the comprehensive operations analysis. We're in the process of reviewing that document. The comprehensive operation analysis look at the whole operation of our transit system, makes recommendations on improvement and cost efficiencies. So we are in the process of reviewing it, and once we review it and get it approved, then we'll start implementing those changes that are beneficial to the system and to the clients that use the services. We've had several requests for non-emergency medical transportation companies to do business in Brevard County. Those services will not conflict with anything that Space Coast Area Transit does, so you'll be seeing a lot more vehicles in the county from the non-emergency medical transportation providers. And we're still exploring grants for maintenance and operations facility, as well as the transfer center in Cocoa. And as Lance has indicated already, we are still looking for operators for the system. So if you know anybody who would like to drive a transit bus, please give Lance a call so he can put them to work. And we're in the process of updating the Transportation Disadvantage Service Plan, and that document will be brought back to you at the next meeting. So that will conclude this report. Are there any questions?
Any questions before I ask my question? Okay, can you give us any clarity on the non-emergency services that you just spoke of?
It's people who would be taking clients to medical appointments, and they were scheduled directly with those individuals rather than with the county.
Okay,
it's
so
for
they'll be
private
using
It was for private providers.
private, like Stellar or some of the others that you see current around that are
Yes.
always doing that. So they're not going to be using SCAT anymore for that.
It would be people who are paying for private services
Paying,
to use the transportation. Those who qualify for SCAT services will still qualify for those services, but it's people who are outside
Oh,
the
okay.
parameters, and some may be providing transportation for Medicaid clients as well.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions? Any other clarification needed? All right, thank you. All right, so we'll move on down to item 4, which is new business, approval of annual bylaws. So, Ms. Kenneth, it's back to you.
Okay. Each year, pursuant to Florida Statute 427, the local coordinating board is, pursuant to Chapter 427, the local coordinating board is required to review the bylaws on an annual basis and make any modifications they deem necessary. At this point in time, there are no changes that are being proposed to the bylaws. They are as they were previously were, and we're just asking for adoption of the existing bylaws. And the bylaws are the governing rules that guide the board in their decisions, as well as the composition of the board. It outlines the responsibilities and duties of the board, the appointment of the members, and the appointment of a subcommittee for the grievance are all found in the bylaws for the LCB.
Now, unless I'm mistaken, a lot of this is required by transportation disadvantage in Tallahassee, isn't that true?
Yes, the membership composition is
Right.
statutorily imposed, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so you're asking us to approve the bylaws because nothing has changed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my little note here says no action needed, but you do need a motion and a second to approve them. And that is what we have under Transportation Disadvantaged Local Coordinating Board's policies, PLC 8. Is that what you're asking for? Because it's not labeled as bylaws.
Yes.
Okay. Has everyone had a chance to go through these? All right, in that case, I'm looking for a motion and a second.
I make a motion that we approve the bylaws.
Motion, Linda Howard, second.
I second.
Second, Camille Tate. Was
Yes.
that correct? All right, thank you very much. All right, all in favor of approving the bylaws?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you. Approval of grievance procedures.
The grievance procedures are one of the mandatory requirements that's dictated in the statute as well. And the grievance procedures define a grievance as a circumstance, condition, thought, or to be unjust and grounds for a complaint or resentment. So any user of the system is able to file a grievance. And these grievance procedures outline the process that has to be followed in order for the grievance to be filed. And it also outlines the local coordinating board's responsibility in responding to the grievance. And one of the other areas of the grievance procedures is to make sure we have a grievance committee to be appointed. Right now, there isn't one. Although there aren't any grievances pending, we would be asking that the grievance committee, that the board appoint a grievance subcommittee to resolve complaints for the local coordinating board. And the purpose of that committee is actually to process, investigate, resolve complaints and recommendations to the local coordinating boards for improvements to the services. And as Ms. Howard stated earlier, there hadn't been but one grievance in the last 20 years, so that's pretty impressive within itself. So it doesn't seem like there would be much work for the grievance committee to have to do, but we would like to have one in place, and Sarah would like to provide some input as well on this.
Thank you.
Yep. Upon approval of the grievance procedures, then we can review the policy of that's in place for the grievance subcommittee and make those nominations at this time. But I think we should probably approve the procedure before we start appointing committee members, if that.
That's fine,
Okay.
yes. All right, that being said, may I please have a motion and a second to approve the grievance procedures? Motion?
I'll put a motion.
Motion, Mr. Stringer. Second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Howard. All those in favor signify. All those, let me do this again. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, those opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you. Back to Sarah.
All right, so per our bylaws or policies, basically 5 voting members of the TDLCB, the Transportation Disadvantaged Local Coordinating Board, will serve a term of January 1st, 2023 to December 31st for this year's grievance subcommittee. Unless we need to appoint, we can appoint a new member at any point in time. So if someone was unable to serve or some other reasoning that we would need to appoint another member. We need a chair and a vice chair of the subcommittee and basically 3 additional members. At least 3 of the voting members must be present in order for a subcommittee to actually have quorum. And so, as has been mentioned, only had to meet once, but we do need to have this subcommittee in place. So I would like to open up the annual nominations for the grievance subcommittee members for the period of January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. Nominations will be needed for each position. So we'll go chair, vice chair, and then the 3 members at large. And a second is not required unless there are more than 1 nomination per position. So let's say you wanted to nominate Heather, which you can't. Heather can't attend, can't be a member. But let's say you wanted to nominate Heather. A second is not required in order to nominate her unless someone then turned around and wanted to nominate me. Does that make sense?
Do they have to be from this board?
They have to be from this board.
Okay.
They have to be members of the TDLC.
And our members from this board, are they going to nominate one another? Can they self-nominate? Can they volunteer?
I don't think there's anything against the policies where you can't self-nominate.
Well, I would like to self-nominate myself for chair.
Okay, so we have a nomination for Miss Andrea Young for chair. Do we have any other nominations for the chair of the grievance subcommittee? All right, well, we will close nominations and I'd open it up for vice chair. Do we have any nominations for vice chair?
It's such a taxing job, but I'll.
That you're willing to, thank you, Ms. Howard. All right, so I have 1 nomination for Linda Howard for vice chair. Do we have any other nominations for vice chair? All right, I would like to open it up to our first member at large. Do we have any nominations for the first member at large?
I'd like to nominate myself.
All right, I have Miss Camille Tate. Does anyone else like to? All right, we will go on to our second member at large. Yes, Ms. Felicia?
Yes, I would like to nominate myself.
All right, so we have Felicia Wilson as our second member. Does anyone else like to? All right, we need our third. All right, Miss Nolte, like to self-nominate?
I would like to self-nominate as a committee member.
All right, and then we have Ms. Nolte. Any other additional discussion? All right, Madam Chair, I would like to request a motion to approve the slate of Chair Andrea Young, Vice Chair Linda Howard, and the 3 members at large, Camille Tate, Felicia Wilson, and Arlene Nolte, as one single motion. So if you will,
Thank you. Can we get a motion to accept this?
Motion to accept the slate as stated.
Motion, Mr. Vanderstal. Second? Second by Ms. Anderson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
All right, congratulations, our 5 grievance subcommittee members for 2023.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Congratulations to all. I'm looking forward to that very much. Oh, actually not. I'm hoping there aren't any grievances. I'm hoping we don't. Okay.
Looking forward to no work.
Yes, exactly. All right, next, approval of annual operating budget.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I believe you have a copy of the annual operating report for FY 21-22 in your packet. I'm just going to summarize all of that for you. The report is based on the state's fiscal year, not the county's. And it does not include all the transportation services that are provided by Space Coast Area Transit. Some data is estimated from samples and the AOR is submitted to the TD Commission. It's required to be submitted under Florida Statute 427, and it provides an overview of the program and a summary of performance trends statewide. All of the information reported is collected and compiled from each county, and it is, as I mentioned before, it's based on the state's fiscal year. The annual operating information is collected and reported to the TD collection system, and the state also uses the data collected to substantiate the need to seek additional funds, but it is not a part of the formula for grant allocations, and it includes both operating and financial data. The operators are, in the report, are Space Coast Area Transit, Enterprise, and the School Board of Brevard County. This year we had 96,346 paratransit contract and volunteers in motion trips, which was down from the previous year. Enterprise was up 10%. The school board is back to pre-COVID numbers, and the fixed route passes were 433,000, which is up about 10%. And the reasons for the trips, the number one reason is still, and has been for a while, employment, with the next reason being education, training, and daycare, followed by medical and life-sustaining other various trips. Let's see. This year we had 1,168 vehicle miles, 16 road calls, 3 chargeable accidents, a total of 165 vehicles and 102 wheelchair vehicles. Had 121 full-time drivers and 17 volunteer. We had revenues of $7,162,000 and expenses of $5.2. The biggest takeaway is and in your report, you'll see where it compares last year's report to this year's report. So if you compare the trips, we are up about 3%. We're up about a little over 1% in our vehicle miles, down 1 accident from last year, and our expenses were up about a little less than 2%, and our revenues were down less than 1%. That's it. Do you have any questions?
Sounds like you've been busy.
I'm sorry.
Sounds like you've been very busy.
Yes.
Okay. All right, and you're looking for approval of your
Yes.
Annual operating report. All right, may I give a motion, please?
I put up the motion.
Motion by Mr. Stringer, second.
Hi, Lucy Taylor, second.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor, who seconds. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, next is the meeting date calendar for 2023.
The question I have is, you have 2022.
And there was a printout for 2023, they
I
corrected
picked it up, I picked it up.
Okay.
There was a corrected meeting date calendar provided with the 2023 year on it, but the meetings would be February 20th, May 15th, August 7th, and November 6th, and all commencing at 10:30 a.m.
And we're all going to be right here in the Space Coast room.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I know sometimes it may change. All right, thank you. You're just looking for approval?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. May I get a motion to approve the meeting schedule? Yes.
I make a motion
Ms.
for
Nelson.
approval of the 2023 calendar.
Thank you. Motion by Arlene Nolte. May I get a second?
I'll second.
Second by Felicia. Felicia, I can't see your
No,
last name. from
Camille.
here.
I think that was.
Oh, I'm sorry, Camille. All right, Camille Tate, second. All right, thank you. All those who approve of the new schedule, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kenneth. All right, member reports. Who would like to start off, or if there are any member reports? Anyone like to update the board on anything? Oh, yes.
We have some exciting news as I would like to introduce Debbie Flynn. She is our new transportation planner. She will be moving into this seat. So in February, you'll have a different face up here as she is taking over our transit coordination as far as our staff resources go. I will be out sitting where Debbie is for at least the first couple, and I'm always available, of course, but she will be transferring into our main point of contact moving forward for the TDLCB.
Well, thank you. We're looking forward to seeing you coming to the meetings, and you know the schedule now, so thank you very, very much. All right, any other board updates, board reports?
I have a quick one, Lucy Taylor. I'm going to read because I don't want to forget any key dates. So on October 12th, we opened the solicitation period for our yearly solicited FTA grants, including the FTA Section 5310, of which eligible recipients include private nonprofit organizations. The grant application deadline is 5 p.m. January 13th, 2023. This grant is for agencies to be able to provide transportation to individuals with disabilities and the elderly. If you guys are aware of any private nonprofit organizations that provide transportation to those populations, we encourage you to send them our grant workshop information. And I can send the link to Yvonne. Would that be the best contact? Okay. And this will have all the workshop materials and videos.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that update. Anyone else? Yes.
Yeah, just a quick update. We had a stand down that was scheduled for this month, but we had to cancel because of Hurricane Ian. That has been rescheduled for January 21st. That's a veteran stand up, stand down. It'll be at the Cocoa Armory. The primary sponsors are the DAV and the Brevard Veterans Memorial Center and the Brevard Veterans Council. And SCAT is always supportive of those events, and I'm sure look forward to talking about that more later.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that update.
The
I'd like to
21st.
talk to you about that later after the meeting. Anyone else? Any other board reports? All right. Public comment. Anyone from the public wish to add their comments to the meeting? Okay. All right. Can we get an adjournment? Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I adjourn.
All right. We got a motion to adjourn. Mr. Stringer, all of those in favor, get up and carry on with your day.
It's my kind of meeting.
Well, that was, yes, it was.